Hi, it's Kieran here again with now I'm here with a new topic. Uh, in this video I'd like to talk to you about moral skepticism. I am myself a moral skeptic, so that's why I want to talk about it. Okay, so what is moral skepticism and why do I hold this view? Basically, yeah, I mean, since I was, I think, in my late teens, I think that's when I first realized that I was a moral skeptic, and I have been ever since. It's basically the view that moral or ethical statements or opinions can't be true or false. They're just really just a matter of taste. Now, albeit taste that a lot of us, including myself, are pretty passionate about. Now, I hold particular moral views, strong moral views. So it's not like I'm total sort of nihilist in my life. But I think that can be consistent, as I will talk about a bit later. Okay, so basically, why do I think moral skepticism is correct? Well, it basically comes down to this: you can't get an ought from an is idea, which is a statement by philosopher David Hume. Yeah, you basically got facts, like, you know, a certain team won the World Cup last time round, or whatever. You've also got you can have sort of statistical facts or laws, like for example, you could say if you got a sack full of ping pong balls of different sizes, then the smaller ones will probably sink down to the bottom if you like shake them around. So you got like statistical or any kind of you got facts or truths like that, and then you've got matters of taste. And I think that moral statements like murder is wrong just come down to as matter of taste, albeit taste we're pretty passionate about. Basically, yeah, I find this pretty kind of straightforward and irrefutable. Basically, any kind of factual statement that can be true or false has to be basically you make a description of some part of reality or some aspect of reality, which means that somebody else can come along, listen to your description, and then look at or measure the thing you're describing, and then decide whether it's true or false. So with most facts, you can just, it's something like you're describing a kind of part of reality, like say what team won the World Cup. So someone could go listen to your description, your statement about who won the World Cup, and then go to some, I don't know, whatever, some record of what happened, and see the thing itself and say, well, that doesn't match what he said, or it does match. With other subtler like laws of physics or statistical laws, you can't actually go to a specific place or whatever. You can see it, what is supposed to be the effects of this law. Like you can go and with the rule about smaller balls sinking to the bottom of a sack. If you shake it around, you can go and look at a lot of sacks and see, you know, that's either the statement's a lot of bullshit or it's true. Based on, I mean, it's more of a statistical thing there in that case. But with an ethical statement like murder is wrong, okay, you get what's supposed to be a description of reality. Murder is wrong, but then what is the part of reality you're supposed to go to verify whether this is true or not? I mean, you can look at a murder, somebody gets killed, And like the best you could do is probably say everybody thought it was really bad, but that's just popular taste, surely. I mean, that's, even if everybody thinks that, that doesn't really prove that it's really true. I mean, like you could say everybody finds like poo smelly, but then again you could look at like dogs or flies and they don't think that. So it's really just, that's just taste. It's an evolved taste. It's a kind of hardwired taste, but it is taste. It's not really true that poo is smelly. It's just true that human beings almost always find poo smelly. And it seems to be the case with murder. Anyway, yeah, that's basically why I'm a moral skeptic. So I don't think there's any way around that. But you might ask, why am I interested in ethics as I am? Why bother with ethics? If it's just a matter of taste, then we can't agree on it. What's the point in talking about it? You can't actually prove anything. So it seems to be a bit of a waste of time talking about ethics. I don't have one brilliant sort of put down to that point, but I've jotted down a few points which I think do a reasonable job of justifying why we might still want to hold ethical positions and talk about ethics, even though it isn't like an area of science or like factual thinking. One thing is that morality is something we all seem to find important. I mean, it is just simply something. Well, I don't think we can help that. Almost everybody thinks murder is wrong, and also most people seem to reflect to some degree on like their own ethical behavior. And like for example, if you said to someone, "Oh, you're really immoral in what you do," that person will probably react quite strongly. It's something we feel strongly about. And they'd either be really defensive about what they're doing, or if you did manage to convince them that they were living an immoral life, you might well see a profound change in that person. So it's something we all find, practically all of us find important. So that's seems to be one reason to talk about it. But also, well, furthermore, I mean, if we all found it important, but we couldn't change our own like moral positions, then maybe it would be a waste of time to talk about it. But I think it seems entirely possible, and in fact, there are examples in my own past where I have changed my ethical view just through discussion with other people. The example I can think of is I've been a utilitarian a long time, but only relatively recently, when I discussed utilitarianism with other people, did I realize that or come to the conclusion that I take certain views within utilitarianism, namely this total view where you want the total amount of pleasure in the universe, not some sort of average per person. There's probably other examples of where I've changed my ethical view a bit, and it seems, I mean, if we think morality is important, and then discussion of morality can change our position, then that seems like some sort of argument for it being an important thing, having important effects when you talk about morality. Also, presumably, and certainly in my case, and presumably in most cases, once you, if you ask the person who's changed their moral view, I mean, they obviously think they've improved their moral view, so it seems to be an improvement in an important area, stemming from discussion of morality. Okay, the other ideas I've written down here is talking about morality I don't believe there's a true morality out there, but if you're going to discover it, then talking about morality may well, lead the way there, and that would be a really important, the most important discovery ever, probably, if you did discover, in my eyes at least, if I heard a convincing argument to bridge this is-ought gap. Okay, and also, well, at least maybe talking about ethics in general isn't that useful, but you can certainly say this discussion about moral skepticism, which is sort of vaguely, maybe a meta-ethical discussion, you might say, sort of vaguely in the ethical area. This is important because what I'm saying here in this discussion, I believe, is just fact. It isn't taste. Okay, so also, if you talk about ethics, you can find some logical flaws in other people's views. So most people agree that we shouldn't have logical flaws. I mean, if you really are being illogical in your ethical thinking, then that does seem to come close to sort of proving something. I believe the kind of way I view our ethical views, they come in kind of there's two levels to it. Each of us has, I think, on the lower level, a sort of moral instincts, I would say, kind of general things like help other people and murder's bad, sort of general sort of feelings, which I think are we're born with pretty much. But then the sort of higher level, we develop our sort of considered moral systems or moral, our final kind of moral judgments. So in my case, I have these moral instincts, like probably just help people or something like that, or like hurting people is kind of wrong. But then on the higher level, I've kind of worked out a kind of system. Adhere to a whole system, which utilitarianism. So I think it's probably true in most people's cases, certainly in the cases of people who have reflected on ethics a lot. They'll have their moral instincts, which philosophers call intuitions generally, which but I think that sounds a bit too clever for what they are. But then we have the, as I say, the moral system or the final moral judgment, which we kind of cook like a cake out of the raw ingredients of our moral instincts. Anyway, it seems possible, I think, it might be true in my case, or it's arguable, that we have actual moral instinct for consistency or having a well thought out moral view. So it seems that we find, actually instinctively, we find the moral consistency, or we find that moral sort of thing. We find that important aspect of morality. So to develop a consistent moral view, it helps to talk to other people about it and so on. Okay, well, our last little point is basically morality defines to a large degree what we think is important. In my belief, it really does. I look to morality to define importance itself. So anything that really does go some way or all the way to defining importance surely is important. Anyway, so I'm running very close to 15 minutes here, so I'll wind it up. I'll do another video. I'll do a next video about my utilitarianism. Thank you.